princess's nose suddenly began to mutate. In the blink of an eye, it grew to over 300 feet long. Just as the room was about to burst at the seams, the nose crawled right out the window on its own. It started wandering all over the city. This bizarre sight drew crowds of villagers who gathered to watch. Suddenly, the princess let out an agonizing scream. It seemed like someone had stepped on her nose. Little did she know, this was only the beginning of her nightmare. The nose soon crossed the border and traveled all the way to the freezing Arctic. The princess couldn't stop sneezing from the cold as her nose fumbled around looking for shelter from the wind. But an old woman mistook it for a python and dumped a basin of scalding water right on it. The princess screamed in agony from the burn. Fortunately, the nose found a river, but before she could even catch her breath, two little brats on the riverbank spotted it. They thought the nose was a big fish floating to the surface, so they picked up rocks and started pelting it. The nose was forced to dive underwater, and the princess nearly choked to death. Even so, the nose had no intention of stopping. It fled all the way to a neighboring kingdom. Luckily, the guards had sent word ahead, and the king of that kingdom, wanting to show goodwill, had all his subjects dress up in their finest to welcome it. Not only did they serve the nose creamy, fragrant milk, but the king himself pinned a medal of friendship ceremoniously onto the nose. The king searched far and wide for doctors, but no one could explain what strange ailment this was. Just when everyone was at their wits' end, three mysterious figures walked through the door. It turned out they were famous magicians from the area, and the king had invited them to perform for the princess's birthday celebration. Dashan only needed to wave his hat gently to conjure up any object. When Xiao Shan played his erhu, he could summon anyone he wished. Each of the three magicians possessed an incredibly magical treasure. The king's eyes nearly popped out of his head watching all this, and greed began to stir in his heart. He pretended to invite the three to celebrate with drinks, and by the time they woke up, the king had already stolen all their treasures. Just then, an apple fell from a tree. One of the men casually took a bite, and to his surprise, his nose started growing wildly again. A crow quickly flew over with a green date in its beak, and only after eating it did his nose return to normal. To get revenge on the greedy king, the three magicians had come up with this plan all along. In the end, the princess had no choice but to return all the treasures the king had stolen, and her out-of-control nose finally returned to normal.